Oh, now you gotta fight Zerg.
I'm never gonna defeat Zerg!
Well, that in my case it was true, because I always had the PC version up until recently.
Well, what operating system, whenabouts did you play it?
I don't know. It was a while back, but all I remember is that he was like bugged when I played it, so.
The game, interestingly, has a maximum, the hell do you call it, clock speed of 1 gigahertz on the CPU. So if you have a CPU that's over 1 gigahertz, the game will give you an error message and refuse to boot. So I guess
I'm just gonna let you know that like whenever movie cutscenes are playing, they're like 25% louder, and I can't hear a word you're saying until it's over. Okay, what are you saying?
Okay, I was just saying that the PC version has a 1 gigahertz clock speed maximum. So if you're playing on a computer with a CPU that's over 1 gigahertz, which wasn't really common back in 1999, but quickly, like a Pentium 4, which came out a few years later, could clear 1 gigahertz. The game will boot with an error message and then refuse to go to the game. So one of the things that the PC version fixes, or the PC patch fixes, is it removes that 1 gigahertz limit. And I'm going to presume that RibShark recoded all of the scripts for the enemies and stuff to use delta time, because the frame rate and stuff is perfect.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but this boss sucks, even if you're not playing it on PC with the overly powerful computer, because you can't shoot him. This is the first boss in the game that you can't shoot. Up to this point, you can just shoot everything, which makes most of them pretty easy, but, you know, the spin attack sucks, and I don't know why anybody would use it unless if you were forced to. And he just keeps moving away from you. And it took me a really long time to figure out that you can spin and then jump to hit him easier.
Yeah.
But he has a nasty habit of moving away from you at the last second. It's just kind of a pain in the butt, and it's not really that fun. Which is kind of a disappointing, because when I was a little kid, I loved Zerg. You guys want to hear a fun story about little baby Mikey?
I'd love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I was about 5 years old, this movie was in theaters. It had just come out. And it was Christmas time. And I was a smart little boy, and when my mom and dad asked me what I wanted from Santa, I was like, well, you told me that Santa has magic, and that's how he delivers presents to everybody around the world overnight. I want Santa's magic for Christmas. And my parents were like, no, he can't give you that. You gotta ask for something else. Because I had sussed them out, you see.
Little Michael is the motherfucker that will be like, I wish for infinite wishes.
Yes. So eventually what they convinced me to do is this, like, there was like a Zerg action figure that came out alongside the movie. And I thought he looked really cool because he's got like the purple and he's got that Nerf ball gun, tennis ball cannon thing.
Yeah.
So what I ended up doing was changing my Santa present to the Zerg action figure. But I was like, but I already told Santa at the mall that I wanted magic for Christmas. And then my mom was like, oh, don't worry, we sent Grandma to the Redmond Town Center to tell the mall Santa that you wanted the Zerg action figure instead. I was like, oh, thank goodness.
Nice. That's awesome.
Point being that, as a kid, I would have liked a decent Zerg boss, but...
Me too.
You know, you just spin into him, and he runs away.
You have saved our lives. We are eternally grateful.
Will you just leave me alone?
Dude,
I think that's Hannah, that girl. Sid's sister. Because she sounds the same.
You got that, sport? You be careful. Do you have a fragile stick or something you can put on that? 'Cause I know what goes on.
Fuck airports. I hate them.
Yeah, I saw that you had a fun time flying back home from Michigan.
Yeah. Same.
What did you say? I'm sorry. Anytime there's a cutscene, I have a hard hearing. I don't know why the game gets like 25% fucking louder during the movie
I was just
parts.
saying that I don't like airports. They're stressful.
Yeah, I can don't blame
Annoying.
you.
They're coarse and rough, and they get everywhere.
Unlike you, you're everything. Soft, smooth.
So apparently those enemies are supposed to be like banditos.
Mhm.
Like, or vaqueros, possibly.
Mm.
And I always thought they were supposed to be like fur trappers.
Mm.
But apparently, and now Ryan, you're Cuban American.
I am.
So you're a Latino. So you get
Yes.
to have an opinion on this. But are those enemies offensive?
No.
See, like,
Where the fuck?
I personally don't see
I think it's
what
the
the issue is. They're just guys. It's not like they're saying comedy Spanglish or something.
It's not like as if... I mean, they're just there because, like, that's what... They were, I guess, a part of, like, Western action movies for so long. You know, it's not like as if them being here is at the expense of anybody. They're not making fun of everybody. It's just like, oh, you know, we have them here because they are a part of...
Yeah, we
Like,
need a
Western movies.
Western-themed enemy that can shoot a gun. Banditos.
Yeah.
Yeah, but apparently there were some people who were really pissed off about those enemies, and they protested it. So what ended up happening is, in later releases of this game, they replaced them with, like, blonde-haired, blue-eyed cowboys.
Huh.
Interesting.
This actually happened, and those are the enemy types that are in the Dreamcast version. So apparently, like, the Player's Choice N64, the Greatest Hits PS1, and all the European versions of the games have the cowboys instead of the banditos.
Yeah, that's interesting. I like the music. And also, I've always loved... I don't know what it is, but I've always been fascinated by airports because... I actually think because of this movie.
I mean, if anything, I do like this level a lot. I think it's pretty cool.
I love the music a lot. And the levels, like, I think it's cool. It represents the airport well. I think it's
I don't know if you're gonna agree with this, Ryan, but you've been to SeaTac Airport. I don't know how well you remember it, but this level is a pretty good representation of what SeaTac looks like.
Really?
Yeah, it like that pattern on the walls and all the gray and brown, like it reminds me of SeaTac. So it actually kind of looks like the airport I'm most familiar with.
I remember SeaTac being... I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just because, like, the Orlando airport is fucking ginormous, but I remember it being pretty small.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have as good a frame of reference for that because haven't been that many places. Like, I've been to a European airport.
Yeah.
Those places are tiny. I went to an airport in Barcelona that was really tiny, and it's like, you know how here in this country they'll like call or like seats rows 10 through 15 now boarding, you know that, or they'll board the plane in an orderly fashion. In Spain, they just have everybody get in a line.
Huh.
And they don't give a shit. They don't give two fucks. So, yeah. But that airport was small. The French airport I went to, the French train station I went to was pretty big. It looked like Grand Central Station. It was huge.
Speaking of French, has anyone seen the movie Chocolat?
I have not. Is that a new porno film?
No, it's a movie about a lady who makes chocolate and
oh, you mean that
France.
Wonka movie?
No. What the fuck? It came out in like 2000
starring Timothy Chalamet.
No, it had Johnny Depp. God fucking damn it. Balls. It's a good movie. It has Alfred Molina in it.
Oh, Dr. Octagonopus?
Yes. It's about a lady who moves into this quaint village in Paris.
Patty?
And well, I don't think it's actually Paris, but like it's somewhere in France. But
Is this in the other?
she makes chocolates for people during Lent. So it's like people are like, oh, I don't know, but then they learn like, oh, hey, well, maybe we shouldn't have a stick up our butt. It's really good. I'd recommend it.
I haven't been to church in like 10 years. Can you remind me what Lent is?
Take me to church.
I'll take you to church.
Like the hit song.
And what'd you say, EXO?
I haven't been to church in 10 years. Can you remind me what Lent is?
Lent is the period. It's it's 40 days before Easter, and it's you pretty much sacrifice something for 40 days. So like a lot of people would sacrifice chocolate or soda or candy or sweets or anything like that.
I don't remember what I gave up on Lent. It's so long ago.
Well, here's a fun thing about it is that like some people are really strict about it, but really it's not necessarily about like sacrificing for 40 days. It's also just about like you don't have to sacrifice anything. It's more so just like not being indulgent, So it's like, oh, and it's kind of like a New Year's resolution where it's like, oh, I'm not going to eat any of this or I'm not going to do any of this. And then you do. And it's like, oh, well, now it's time to indulge myself again.
Yeah.
It's like it's not necessarily about going
I
cold
hate this
turkey.
part right here.
It's just about like self-improvement and being better. So
yeah, my dad still takes it pretty seriously.
Yeah.
So.
Your dad sounds like a really interesting man.
Yeah, based on what?
I don't know, he loves Adam Sandler movies, and he
does. Yes, he does. Yeah.
And he loves video games, but he also takes Lent very seriously. It seems like there's a disconnect.
Yeah, I get what you mean. He's just a devout Catholic, so.
Hey, you know what? Respect. I'll buy him a beer if he drinks beer.
We are also Irish, so it tracks.
I suppose you do have a Mick in your last name, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
That tracks.
Also, I think my dad said we have part Norwegian as well, which is why we have shaky hands as we get older.
Like, my fucking last name just is like a fish.
Xander?
Yeah, it's the German
I thought
version
you were
of...
gonna say Sansa. I was like, holy shit.
Now EXO gets the joke.
I do want to say that Zanza is pretty hot.
Yeah?
He's pretty sexy.
Do you mean specifically Zanza? Or?
Specifically Zanza. I mean, like, the who like Zanza is also hot, but Zanza is hotter.
Uh-huh.
Just be careful. We don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't played it yet.
Don't read into what I just said very much. If anybody's listening to that.
Tune in to the Unversed cast playthrough of Xenoblade Chronicles.
That's never gonna happen, and you know it.
On new 3DS.
No,
we could certainly try, but we would never finish it.
That's interesting that you mentioned that, Ryan, because I do now finally have a new 3DS capture card.
Well, time to put that sucker to use.
But there is no way in hell I'm playing that game again on 3DS.
No, I'll play it again. I'm not even lying. I don't think it's a good idea to do that for Unversed Cast, but if it were to ever happen, I would gladly play Xenoblade again.
You need the hover boots to get the thing on top of that, so...
You're right.
So they force you to do this platforming section a minimum of twice, assuming you don't fuck up.
What is this goop?
I think it's supposed to be oil.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Anything can be bought and sold for the right oil. Sorry. It's probably yes.
Oh my God. I know a guy who lives in Canada.
So do I. We all know him.
It's so real. Yes. I know quite a few Canadians, actually.
Yeah, he's invulnerable to lasers.
Yeah, you're right.
You can basically just walk around him and keep hitting him over and over again. He'll never be able to hit you back.
What a guy.
Why do I keep thinking his name is Stinky Pete?
It is. Like, that's...
It is. Okay.
He's the Prospector, that's his title, but his name is Stinky Pete.
Okay. I
he
thought
plays
my brain
like
was caving into itself again. I don't know.
He plays like an idiot character on the Woody's Roundup TV show, which is based on Howdy Doody.
Howdy Doody.
You said duty.
which is something I wanted to mention, is that Al has a bunch of tapes of the Woody's Roundup TV show. But the show is supposed to air in like 1950 something, which is like 28 years before VHS was invented, or Betamax, or any consumer video format. So what tapes are those supposed to be?
Well, maybe they were reruns. I don't know.
Because I'm not certain when TV stations started using, because like there's, in addition to consumer grade formats like VHS and Betamax, and there are a bunch of other ones as well. Video 2000. There was even an HD VHS format for a bit in the 2000s.
Yes. I've heard of this.
But before that, there were like specifically professional grade tapes that were used specifically. Like there's one called Betacam, which is like an iteration on Betamax that supports like basically really high quality and even HD digital television recordings that was used in studios for a very long time, and there were standards before that. But I'm not sure when those were first adopted, because I want to say it was like 10 years before Betamax. I want to say Sony made a format called U-matic or something, and that's what Beta was based on. But I have no idea when that was. It was like the 60s or something, so that would have been before the fucking Woody's Roundup show would have been on. So if anybody in the chat knows anything about old tape formats that were used specifically on TV stations that a Howdy Doody type show would have been recorded on, please tell us in the chat. I know I'm the only one who gives a shit about any of this, but it's fascinating, damn it.
Exo is wrong about the Woody's Roundup videotapes. In this shot where Bullseye pushes the tape into the VCR, we can see that it is clearly a standard VHS cassette. Furthermore, the VCR displays LP on the readout, which is short for VHS's proprietary long-play recording mode. In a later scene, we get a better view of the tape sleeves, indicating that each tape contains 3 to 4 episodes. This suggests that in the universe of Toy Story, the makers of Woody's Roundup eventually re-released the series on VHS for consumer playback. Exo is wrong.
You know what I think is fascinating?
Fanfictions?
No. Well, that was your one guess, and now you'll never know.
You're annoyed that I brought it up?
No.